the quicker that you start to go, holy shit, I'm going to fucking put together and work out what I want to do with the limited time that I have left. You can tell I'm pretty fucking pumped up at the moment. Hey, what's going on, Dice? Here to shoot into a quick video. I'm actually here in Fortitude Valley, the valley. I haven't been here in like 3 years. Retros is just there, fucking RG's over there. Yeah, so many memories on this fucking little bit of the world. But the purpose of this video is I want to do a real basic fucking video on why it's important to find your purpose and the basics of how to go about it. Right. So one of the most important books I think you need to read as a man that's stepping up to his purpose, stepping up to what he wants to do with his life is David Deida's book, The Way of the Superior Man. That is like, I've read it like 3 or 4 times now. It is one of, if not the most important books that you need to read if you're looking into getting into self-development or success with women, or just finding like your masculinity and who you are, like, and how you want to move forward with your life. Super fucking important book. It's really easy to read. I love the way David Deida has laid out the book in like a very strategic way. So it's got like a little mini paragraph. They have very clear titles, and like it's a little bit wooey, but it's not full of a lot of fluff, and it's very easy to digest, and you can punch through the whole book in like a day or two, depending on how fast you want to read it. But it's not a very thick book, so do go check that out. David Deida, The Way of Superior Man. But in the book, he talks about why your number one mission in life is to find your purpose and to go hard on it. Okay, so it's not always like your mission in life is going to be the same right through. Like for example, maybe 30-40 years ago or beyond, you would kind of like lock into a job, and that would be your purpose for an extended period of time. We live in a day and age now where that's not really the case much anymore. People are used to like chopping and changing jobs and chopping and changing their purpose. So I will point out that in my opinion, your job and your purpose can be 2 separate things. But for the most part, most people have their purpose and their job as the same thing, because like that's just the way most people go about it. Which I'll do in a separate video on another time. But the main point I want to get here, drawn from David Deida's book, is without having that sort of like solid foundation on who you are as a man, you're sort of like you could say a leaf in the wind, and you tend to sort of just move around and sort of go with the flow with life. And it's sort of, you don't have any like solid base and robustness about yourself. And this sort of feeds into other areas, feeds into your confidence with women, confidence in yourself, and you don't really know who you are, so therefore you don't know where to go, and it just creates a shit fight. So we'll dive into a few more of those reasons. So when you're on your purpose, you have a higher state of entitlement. Okay, so because you're on your mission, when you're walking through life, you have certain things that you do and don't allow, and within yourself and within others. And you just walk through life with more entitlement. And when you go, people sense that subconsciously in your persona. It's also like when you go through like a day at work, and because you're on your purpose and it's not like so much soul draining, and you're alive and you're happy, and it's like you're being fueled by a higher power. I wouldn't say God, but a higher power. The universe is fueling you. You feel empowered and really, really alive to actually be engaged in your purpose, to be engaged in that work. So like, for example, just quickly, I love doing these videos. I love sharing. I love fucking putting that information out there in such a way that you might be able to understand. And you can probably sense it, even though that I'm not super good right now talking into the camera, because talking into camera is a skill. Something other than me is fueling this, and it's coming out and it's going into the fucking camera, and it feels really, really good. So through this video, hopefully you can sort of build your own version of whatever's happening in my fucking mind right now. Another thing I point out is displaying your purpose proudly. Okay, so when you're walking through life as a man and you're displaying your purpose proudly, not in a boastful way, but just it is what it is, people sense that confidence in you, and that sort of creates like a loop. So they sense the confidence in you, they support you on your missions if you find the right people, and then that fuels your soul, and then you want to do it again. So it's this constant loop. And then like when the people that come into your life, they can sense that you're not trying to take anything from them. You're only offering value, and everything other than they know straight away that they're sort of like an auxiliary to your purpose. Okay, you're not trying to take anything from them. Your mission is to go and do this, and if you want to come along for the ride, fucking awesome, come along from the ride. You support them, they support you. And if like they don't want to be a part of that, you're not going to get super upset about it, because it's part of the process of being on your mission. So yeah, as your as your sense of purpose increases, so does your boundaries as a man. Okay, so I've really noticed this in myself, and I've noticed this in a lot of other people that are real hardcore go-getters and want to excel in this particular area of their life. So even in the stages prior to finding out your purpose, I think it's very important that you set up boundaries to set you up later. So when you do find exactly what your purpose is, you're already in a really good headspace to accelerate that growth much quicker. So what do I mean by that? Before I really knew what I was going to do business-wise or purpose-wise, I already knew that I needed to be very clear on very clear on the type of influence I have around me, what type of information that I put in my head, what type of foods that I eat, and also my perception of the world around me had to evolve. Because without having a basic sort of understanding of my own subconscious, and also the other influences that are going into my life, I knew that I wasn't going to get to where I am now. I wouldn't be able to accelerate that further. So you want to sort of look into like, are you eating good foods? Are you taking nootropics? Are you exercising? And these are sort of the boundaries that you're setting up so that that are going to be good, even if you don't really know exactly what your purpose is yet. And also, once you do work it out, you fucking boom, you can go hard at it, and everything will be a lot quicker and more enjoyable because you've got that good baseline that you've already set. Okay. Another thing is you start to notice people around you, their behaviors that are serving them, and ones that are not serving them, and then from there you can quickly point the finger from them and back onto you, and you're like, oh, okay, well, if I engage in these behaviors, what normally happens is shit things happen, so I will avoid that. Okay, just like a quick example, like, okay, if I can't constantly drink fucking Pepsi Cola or fucking shitty drinks all the time, like I'm going to put on weight, my brain's not going to work properly, and I'm going to get pimples. So like, oh, okay, well, we'll cut this bullshit out of my food, and I'll just drink only kombucha, orange juice, and even that's got high in fructose. But you generally drink mainly only unfluoridated water. You start to pack your own. Like I pack my own water when I go on holidays. I know it sounds weird, but like you don't want to be drinking tap water. So you're setting these boundaries up so that fucking it sort of helps your brain. You're not damaging your brain, and you're also setting up for success in the future. What else we got here? Now, if you see people around you that don't have these boundaries, okay, you don't necessarily have to fucking entirely exclude them from your life, although that's important if they're in your direct friend circle. But you can look at other people and you can go, you can assess them, and you're like, how could I feed into their life without getting too attached into some of the things they're doing? You're looking at the person and you're going, just because they haven't got one area of their life handled doesn't mean they haven't got all of their life handled. There may be other attributes that they have that you could learn from, and vice versa. Another thing I'm going to talk about is like, how many of the thoughts that you have on a day-to-day basis are actually of your own conscious decision? How many of those thoughts have actually just been influenced there by social media, by the people around you, by fucking the news, and just like being a product of the environment? I would challenge you. I think some people are more some people are more, in my opinion, more like sponges, and other people are more like water. Okay, so what I mean by that, so some people are just like sponges. They're absorbing the fucking energy around them, take, and they're so controlled and influenced by advertising, shitty food, shit on the television, and they're more like zombies. Okay, you can sort of tell by the looking at them in their eyes, and just the way that they walk and way they stand. Like I could show you some people around here, but because Fortitude Valley at this hour is like full of a lot of bums and fucking zombies. But at night time, this place lights up. That's besides the point. What I'm trying to get at is these people. There's no aliveness. There's no spark in them, and that would be considered more of a sponge. Okay, so you don't want to be those type of people. And if you are that type of person, maybe this video is a bit of a wake-up call. It might be you might consider getting coaching from me and start to move up a little bit. Like I'm not perfect at this. I'm still just starting out with my business. But I'll be honest. If you're probably at a stage watching this sort of content that you're like, this guy actually has something that would be a benefit to me. And if I am the type of person that resonates with you, then fucking send me a DM and we'll go from there. So I think, in my opinion, people, this is just my opinion, and also based on RSD shit, I think you have to get to a certain critical mass of like intellect and like have your own sort of mission in life, for people to actually see you as a person, for you to have that aliveness in your eyes, for you to have that spring in your step, to be on your purpose, on your mission, and having those boundaries. Okay, so people are very good at seeing through the bullshit. On both spectrums, they're very good at seeing through the bullshit at the bottom, where someone's just like in the real takers, homeless sort of mindset, and then also at the other end of the spectrum, where like they're overly boastful and they're trying to prop themselves up. So I'm hoping that you can see that I'm talking as genuine as I can to you, because that's the way that it's most authentic to me. And I don't have to fake a lot of this shit, you know. Like I've got notes here because I'm getting better at talking to the camera, but I'm not going to be the type of influencer like where I'm overly having to fucking prove myself just to get a fucking sale. Okay, I'm doing this because it's coming from a deeper and higher place, because I like it, I enjoy it, and I can think of nothing better to do with my life than to help you with finding your purpose and working out what your mission in life is, and being part of your growth and being part of that journey. It just makes me feel fucking awesome, and I hope you can sense that and can sense that congruence in this video. Where are we going with this? I think you're getting the basics of this. I think you're getting the basic understanding of where we're going with this. So, but getting a bit of an idea on why it's important to find your purpose and sort of have some sort of, at least a little bit of a mission and direction in your life, so that you're like, boom, this is what I'm going for. I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm not going to tolerate that. And you get better at fucking building those boundaries. So, how do you find your purpose? So this is sort of the next part of the video. I think everyone, like I believe that everyone has a deep inner gift, but they don't really know the exact way of finding it or how to put the polish on it to make it like something world class, something that they're absolutely going to be really good at and be well known for and fuel their soul with. Okay, so that's what my job is. I'm trying to help you walk through that path. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to find what Tyler calls super attributes, or like unfair advantages that you have over other people. So one of my really good friends, I'll just use my friend Eddie as an example. Okay, so Eddie, for the last 4 years, he's been a lawn maintainer. Okay, and it's for the most part, he's like, oh well, it's paying the bills. But recently, he's had that switch. Maybe talking to me a lot. He's had that switch go off in his head, and he's like, you know what? This is paying the bills, but it's not my calling anymore, and I'm not going to be able to be very successful money-wise if I continue down this path. So he's always had a passion, like, to do with art and to do with tattoos and that sort of stuff. And he's like, now I'm going to pursue artwork and I'm going to fucking go all in on this stuff. And he's recently got his first work in, spray painting a wall and getting paid a pretty decent amount of money, considering for what you're doing, to do that. And I'm super fucking happy for him. I'm super proud that he's actually walked through the path and got that done. Now, what I'm trying to get at is he's got this unfair advantage, this super aptitude that was sort of like, it's to some part like a little bit gifted to him because of his creativity in his mind and the way that his mental makeup is. But at the same time, he's realized that by putting a little bit of effort in and by putting the polish on it, he can actually better that and actually turn it into monies. And now he's actually getting paid for the thing he loves. And that's fucking awesome, Now, not everybody is going to be at the stage where they're like, I have a few of these little skill sets that are sort of like gifts and sort of like given to me, and you might be sort of like uncertain of like where to begin. Okay, especially if you're a younger dude between, maybe you just left high school or you're still going to uni and you've put all this time into fucking like study, but you haven't really you've committed to the study, but you're unsure of like, is this really going to be what I want to do long term? So yeah, you're sort of like in that grey area of uncertainty. So what I recommend, and what most people recommend, is especially when you're younger, is to just try out a whole different things. Okay, so at any one time you're trying 3 things at once. Okay, so you might be trying to get really good at guitar. You might be fucking trying to fucking get really good at I don't know. This is just as a random examples. Maybe you want to do public speaking. Maybe you want to try maybe a little bit of engineering stuff. Maybe you want to try and do up a car. Okay, so those are sort of things when you're younger that you don't really have to put a shitload of work into straight away. And you can sort of just use them as hobbies. Okay, the key to this is you don't want to get to a point where you're doing that for an extended period of time. Okay, so when I say an extended period of time, I mean like beyond maybe a year or a year and a half. Okay, because what happens is you become a leaf for the wind and you're shifting your attention to too many places and you achieve nothing. Okay, but certainly when you're younger, you're trying to go down different paths to try and like find out what lanes are available to you, finding what your unfair advantages, what your super aptitudes are, and then when you've really sort of like worked out, okay, I'm actually pretty good at doing engineering, or I'm pretty good at working on cars. Would I like to do this full time? Is this going to be able to, we'll get into that point, is this going to be able to pay the bills? Is this sort of like something that I want to do long term? Do I feel like this is my calling? And then once that sort of happens, let's say, for example, you did choose that and you're like, yeah, this is actually pretty fucking dope. You commit to it a decent amount, okay? So you cut off a few other options and you start to move further and put more time into that direction, okay? And then maybe you do that for a few more months and then you're like, okay, you know, this is what I want to do. This is fucking, I'm really starting to feel that this is what I want to do. I'm starting to see benefits of this. I can sort of start seeing this lane open up. Now I'm going to fucking go all out. So this is about the time where you might start to look for a mentor. You might start looking for somebody who is an expert at what you want to do, and you might get some of the learning ideas from him. Also, like after a lot of hard thought, you're like, fuck yeah, I've worked out all these things, that these things are starting to line up in my head. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, but one thing you're going to notice is you're not really going to be fully developed in this area when you first start out. So there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty in it. My hand's getting fucking sore from holding it for 15 minutes. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty when you're first going into it because you're stepping into the unknown. But if you can sort of like, I guess, flip the switch in your head and turn that fear and uncertainty a little bit more into excitement and just enjoying the journey, but at the same time going all out into it, okay? You want to sort of like burn the boats per se. So what burn the boats mean, like cutting off all other options for success. So you're not going to fucking do guitar anymore. You're not going to fucking do public speaking anymore because now you're like, okay, fucking engineering and mechanics, just using this example, is what I want to do and I'm going to go all out in that, okay? I'll just turn the page here to go back in on it. So once you've fully committed, do you know for certain that this is going to be your purpose? And the answer is no, you don't. But one thing that you will need to have to fucking do is get that fucking sense of like, I am going to do whatever it takes and I'm going to see this through for at least fucking, you know, a year or two. I'm going to go all out in this. I'm going to cut off everything, okay? Cut off all the shit food, friends that don't support you. I'm going to cut off fucking, I'm going to try and surround myself with other people that are similar minded, that are maybe a little bit higher up in the food chain. Try and find people that are at the same level of you. Maybe even when you get a little bit further along, by you teaching people that are below you, once you've learned a little bit, that helps reinforce things in your head so that you get better at the skill. So you're getting fucking up, top, down influence, you're getting side across influence, and you're getting bottom up influence. And all these things are going to really support you and increase your chances of success in this particular area. So yeah, by not having any other options, like it sort of it starts to get that creative brain going, okay? You're like you're locking your brain to something, and it's now getting to a point where you're not sort of like half-assing the shit anymore, and your brain starts to rewire, okay? People are going to sense your incongruence and realize, and so it's sort of like a loop. I'll explain this loop quickly. That could be a whole other video, but if you're uncertain in what your purpose is, or at least going after your purpose, people around you are going to sense that incongruence, that you're still unsure in yourself, and they're going to subconsciously not be able to provide that help because you're not believing 100% in your thing, which then reinforces in your own head that you haven't fucking worked out what you want to do, and then that cycle loops. But that works in reverse as well. So if you're, 75, 80% sure that this is what you want to do, you're pushing kind of like what I'm doing with this video. Like I'm not perfect at talking to the camera. I'm only just starting my business, but I'm going all out. This is what I want to do. I'm cutting off all other options, and that's that. So what I'm trying to get at is, by you going all in, you bring those influences around you, your brain starts to rewire, you start to see all these other options open up, and the stars and the planets start to align in your head, and you're like, you know what, this shit could actually fucking work. I could actually do this. And that builds into your self-esteem, builds into your confidence, and then you start to go on a slow upward spiral, and you start to enjoy what you're actually doing. So yeah, all right, so this moves me into one of the last sort of topics. So the last sort of thing is like, do you follow Fuck, man, there's some hot girls around here. Holy shit. Anyway, one of the last thing is like following your passion versus following the money. Okay, so for example, let's say that you, for whatever reason, you've gone and done your vision quest, and you've gone through your vision quest, and you're like, hey, I'm going to be a fucking dolphin trainer. Okay, I love dolphins, and I want to be a fucking dolphin trainer. Okay, so I'm not saying that you couldn't be a fucking dolphin trainer, but like, it's such a small niche down thing. And like you have to, and like you're not looking at it from a perspective like how much are you really going to get paid as a dolphin trainer, you know, like this like you just blindly following your passion is not a very smart move. Okay, so and then other people on the other side of the coin says follow the money, and then eventually you'll develop a passion for it because you're getting monetarily rewarded and you're able to use that money to fuel other areas of your life. What I believe and what Tyler believes and what fucking a lot of these people in this space believe is actually a mixture of both. You want to find predominantly what your passion is, okay, and your purpose is, okay, but at the same time, working out a way that you can monetize that, okay? Or the other option, which is what I teach, is also defining, would you be happy to be working in another job to go and fuel your purpose and passion in another area that is, how do I explain it, that you can't actually get paid for, okay? So an example would be like you're super really into skateboarding, but for whatever reason, you know you're not going to get to a pro level, so you're not going to get paid for it, but you're super fucking into skateboarding. So you might be okay to go and work in a skate shop, okay, and be part of that community and get paid for it and live like a pretty average monetary wise life for the sake of doing skateboarding a lot more. So that's just one example. But for me, like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be financially free, and this sort of work has the ability to eventually scale out, so that I can be a millionaire. And also, I like teaching this sort of shit. I like helping you, and it sort of like feeds into my passion, my purpose, my mission, as well as my bank account. So it's a win-win on all levels. You probably have people in your friend circle already where you look at them and they're like, subconsciously they're like, I'm going to do this with my life, I'm going to do that with my life, and you kind of feel that they're in a bit of a fantasy land, okay? And the more that they stay in that, they're actually going to ruin their life, thinking that they're going to blindly follow their passion and it's all just going to work out for them. And you're like, well, where am I? The quicker you can point the finger back at yourself and you go like, where am I doing that? And I'm blindly following my passion, but not able to actually put it into actualization. You start to get your brain working a lot better. You're gonna die, motherfucker. You are going to fucking die. It's highly improbable that you are the world's first immortal. Okay, so like personally, I used to have on my wall. I should actually put it back up since I've moved. On your wall, you've got like every life quarter that you have, and you start ticking off the boxes, and it's like a download screen. And you assume, like, let's say you're going to live to the age of fucking 80, okay? If you're lucky, if you're not drinking beer and you're fucking eating the right foods and you're exercising, you might live happily to 80. So if you blank out all of the years that you've already taken out, there's only really a certain amount of fucking years left. And you're like, holy shit, I'm 30 minutes in on a fucking 1.5 hour movie. And that starts to give you a fucking kick in the ass and go, shit, what do I want to do out with my life? Okay, because time is running out, man. You're on the clock, motherfucker. Get your shit together, because you're not going to live forever. This false. I've noticed a lot of these people. They're like, I'll live forever if I'm on YouTube. I'll live forever if I have a legacy. Yeah, cunt, you'll have a fucking legacy, but your consciousness has left your body. Okay, whether or not you believe in religion. If you're watching this channel, hopefully you don't believe in religion. Whether or not you believe in religion or not, you are no longer in this fucking consciousness anymore. You're like, my personal belief is when you're dead, it's just the absence of my consciousness leaving my body. And the more you align yourself with the fact that you're gonna fucking die, the quicker that you start to go, holy shit, I'm gonna fucking put together and work out what I wanna do with the limited time that I have left. You can tell I'm pretty fucking pumped up at the moment. So what starts to happen is once you've sort of worked out your purpose, the processes in the back of your mind starts to line up, okay? And you get, hopefully you'll get to a point where you like what you're doing, so you do it, and then that breeds into more success, which then makes you like what you're doing again, and then that loop slowly gets you to put you on an upward spiral, okay? But when you're first starting out, you might not have that because there's inner resistance within yourself with like learning a new skill. So you're a little bit uncertain and you're a little bit scared about it because you're not really sure if it's actually your path. But it'll take a bit of time. So if you stick in it for a period of time and then that starts to happen, now you're like, holy shit, we're actually going somewhere with this. This is awesome. And you can actually turn it into something that's fucking world class and something that you can actually share with other people, and you just go up and up and up and up. So maybe, oh yeah, I've actually got a few more notes here. So the benefits of finding your purpose and going on a mission when you're early, it gives you more time to put the polish on it, and you're more likely to succeed because you have more time and more energy and more testosterone and your brain's working properly because, you know, like you're not on a downward slant as much after the age of 35. So you're more likely to turn that into something really, really fucking dope because you've got all that time in your 20s and 30s to make it happen, okay? The other side of the coin, which is what like some people will say, I don't entirely agree with it, but I will have to mention it, is by you sort of trying all these different lanes, by the time you get to like later around the age of 30, like where I am, because you've tried so many things, you've got life experience to know what paths that you don't want to do. And when you find all the paths that you don't want to do, then you're like, okay, well, if I have all this great big list of the shits that I don't want to do, these are the things that I do want to do, and then you don't have there's no more uncertainty, and you're able to punch into that area much, much harder than you would have when you were back in your early 20s. So yeah, hopefully you got something out of this video. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your fucking life, man? Like, if you really resonated with this video and you resonate with my fucking hard style, fucking to the point, direct, meticulous, logical way of thinking, I've got a whole background system that I'd love to share with you. We can go on a mini course together, or even just a discovery call, and we can sort of like have a bit of back and forth, and go through some of this shit in more depth, so that you can actually move your life in the direction that you actually want to. Okay, consciously you're like, I'm going to do big things in my life, but you're not talking to the conscious mind. You're talking to your unconscious mind. You have to change all these habits, and I'll leave you with this. This thought. The default is failure. The default is failure. Have a look around. Have a look around of all these people. Most people aren't living lives that they would be happy with after the age of fucking 35. Most people are not in the best shape that they want to be. Most people aren't fucking charged up. Most people are lost and confused. So if you don't want to end up like that, fucking have a bit of a think about some of the things that I said in this video. And if you're serious, send me a DM and we'll sort this shit out together. Anyway, that's been an awesome rant. I love fucking doing these videos, and I'll hopefully talk to you guys soon. Like, comment, follow, whatever channel you saw this shit on. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Dice out.